over the course of approximately 20 different clinical studies, this technique has demonstrated the ability to reduce major adverse cardiovascular events in individuals with progressive cardiovascular disease, reducing those events by 55 to 98%, which is well beyond the capabilities of statin drugs, which are the leading therapies administered to patients today.
Welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Jim Joyce. He is the CEO of Sigyn Therapeutics. And Jim, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good, Steve. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks very much. And good to have you along. Excited to learn a bit more about what's been going on. I know you had some pretty big news out recently, and we'll talk about that. But for those not familiar, tell me a bit about the company.
Sure, Steve. We're creating dialysis-like therapeutics. These are extracorporeal blood purification technologies to address cancer and cardiovascular disease. And cardiovascular disease, number one cause of deaths globally, accountable for 1 in 3 fatalities each year.
Yeah. And tell me how you do that.
Well, we started off the development of Sigyn Therapy, which has broad spectrum capability to address inflammatory factors that promote the progression of cardiovascular disease. But we've discovered the potential capabilities to reduce the circulating presence of cholesterol transporting lipoproteins that are the basis of Lipitor and other statin drugs. And the ability to reduce the circulating presence of these particles is proven to reduce major adverse cardiovascular events in individuals with progressive cardiovascular disease.
Okay. You've recently announced a multi-site trial that you're going to be doing, and this involves a number of patients, number of different patients, but these are really high-risk patients. Is that right?
They're high-risk dialysis patients. These are
Yeah.
individuals with end-stage renal disease. This means they're dialysis dependent. They go into the dialysis clinics 3 times a week for 4 hours of treatment for most patients. And during those treatments, they're utilizing dialysis as an artificial kidney to remove small molecule toxins. Our study originally was designed to enroll ESRD subjects to remove endotoxemia and address concurrent inflammation, the excess production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. This drives cardiovascular disease in this patient population. These individuals, even though they have kidney failure, a majority of individuals die from cardiovascular disease resulting from the immune response to their therapy. And now we're addressing lipoproteins, LDL-C and LPA. LDL-C well addressed with statins, LPA, a very important lipoprotein target that's not addressed with drug therapies. We're addressing the simultaneous reduction of those targets along with the inflammatory components that drive cardiovascular disease. And I will point out that the reduction of LDL-C and LPA with medical devices historically, this is called lipoprotein apheresis. And over the course of approximately 20 different clinical studies, this technique has demonstrated the ability to reduce major adverse cardiovascular events in individuals with progressive cardiovascular disease, reducing those events by 55 to 98%, which is well beyond the capabilities of statin drugs, which are the leading therapies administered to patients today.
Jim, I mentioned multi-site. How many sites are sort of involved in this, and what's the timeline around all of this?
Yeah, it's a 3-site study, Steve. This is what's called a feasibility study. Our device is a class 3 medical device, which means we have to demonstrate safety of our device, in this case, in a health compromised patient population with progressive cardiovascular disease, demonstrate safety. And then from there, we move on to a pivotal study for potential market clearance to treat cardiovascular disease. And that'll be a much larger multi-site study. But this is a 3-site study that will enroll a target enrollment of 12 to 15 subjects.
Okay. And lastly, will you get something before the end of the year, or is it something in early 2026? Just so investors know what to look out for the company going forward.
Right. We've drafted an investigational device exemption for submission to FDA. We are modifying that investigational device exemption. We call that an IDE to add the inclusion of LDL-C and LPA reduction as observational endpoints, but they're critically important endpoints. But we're adding the inclusion of those endpoints into our clinical study. Once we have those modifications made, we'll get our IDE over to CDRH, the Medical Device Division, for review.
Well, exciting times ahead, lots of work, and we look forward to following the story as it develops. Jim, thanks so much. Good to get an update on where you're at. We look forward to hearing more about the study when the time is right.
My pleasure, Steve. Good to catch up.
Yeah, good to catch up with you as well. Jim Joyce, the CEO of Sigyn Therapeutics.